The blade of the executioner's axe gleamed under the crimson glow of Zorath Prime's twin suns, descending with a whisper that silenced the crowd, until it met flesh and the first alien woman's scream shattered the sky like fracturing glass. I, Captain Elias Thorne, stood chained at the edge of the Colosseum, my human heart pounding against ribs that felt too fragile in this alien gravity. I'd been a prisoner here for months, dragged from my crashed scout ship on the fringes of their empire, accused of spying for the Terran Federation. But nothing prepared me for this spectacle. The Zorathians, with their iridescent scales and eyes like molten gold, had always seemed coldly logical, their society a machine of efficiency and order. Yet here they were executing their own. Women, no less, the bearers of their ancient knowledge, in a ritual that reeked of desperation. Why? What secret could be so deadly that it demanded blood? As the axe fell again, severing another life, I caught the eye of the last woman in line. Her name, I would later learn, was Lyriel. She didn't beg or tremble. Instead, her gaze pierced me, a silent plea wrapped in defiance. In that moment, something inside me snapped. I wasn't just a survivor anymore. I was a catalyst, but what I didn't know then was that saving her would unravel the fabric of two worlds and expose a truth that could end them both. The crowd's roar swelled as the executioner raised his blade for the third time. Lyriel's sisters lay in pools of violet blood, their bodies twitching with the last echoes of life. The air hummed with the low chant of the Zorathian enforcers, their armored forms lining the arena like statues of judgment. I tested my chains, the neural inhibitors buzzing against my skin, suppressing any attempt at escape. They'd underestimated me, though. Humans weren't built like them, predictable, bound by protocols. We were chaos incarnate. A distraction erupted in the stands, a minor scuffle among the spectators, perhaps engineered by sympathizers. It was my only window. With a surge of adrenaline, I yanked at the weakened link in my restraints, the metal groaning under the strain. Pain shot through my wrists, but freedom was worth it. I lunged forward, dodging a guard stun baton, and reached Lyriel just as the axe began its arc. "Stop!" I shouted, my voice raw and alien in their tongue, thanks to the translator implant they'd forced into my skull. The executioner hesitated, his golden eyes narrowing. The crowd fell silent, a wave of confusion rippling through them. Lyriel looked up at me, her scales shifting from fear blue to a curious emerald. "Human," she whispered, "you court death?" But that was only the beginning. We didn't have time for words. I grabbed her arm, pulling her from the platform as chaos erupted. Enforcers swarmed, their energy rifles humming to life. Bolts of plasma scorched the ground where we'd stood, kicking up dust that tasted like iron and regret. Lyriel's hand was cool in mine, her claws retracting instinctively. "This way," she hissed, leading me toward a hidden alcove beneath the Colosseum's tiers. How did she know? Questions burned in my mind, but survival came first. We slipped into the shadows, the roar of pursuit fading behind us. The alcove opened into a network of maintenance tunnels, veins of the city's underbelly where the Zorathians hid their imperfections. Dim bioluminescent fungi lit our path, casting eerie glows on Lyriel's face. She moved with grace, her lithe form adapted to this world of high gravity and endless storms. I stumbled after her, my earthborn muscles protesting every step. "Why were they killing you?" I demanded, my breath ragged. She paused, turning to face me, her eyes flickering with unspoken pain. "The secret we carry, it threatens the core. The elders deem it heresy." Her voice was melodic, laced with the harmonics of her species. But before she could elaborate, alarms blared overhead. Footsteps echoed in the distance. We had to keep moving. What secret could turn a civilization against its own? Deeper into the tunnels we fled, the air growing thick with moisture and the scent of rusting machinery. Lyriel explained in hushed tones as we ran. The Zorathian women of her order, the Keepers, were guardians of ancient lore passed down through genetic memory. They'd uncovered evidence of a forbidden experiment, an artificial singularity buried in the heart of their homeworld, a power source that sustained their empire but was unstable, on the verge of collapse. If it detonated, it would rip a hole in space-time, consuming Zorath Prime and echoing across the stars to threaten Earth. But why execute you? I pressed, ducking under a low beam. She glanced back, her expression haunted. Because we learned the Elders created it deliberately. It's not a power source, it's a weapon, designed to be unleashed if invaders ever came. Invaders like humans, I realized with a chill. Our Federation's expansion had pushed too close to their borders. This was no accident, it was prelude to war. A patrol rounded the corner ahead, their rifles charging. Lyriel shoved me aside as a bolt grazed her shoulder, searing her scales. Pain flashed in her eyes, but she retaliated with a hidden dagger, its blade humming with energy. One enforcer fell, clutching his throat. The other charged. But I tackled him, my fists connecting with scaled armor until he went limp. We were alive, for now. But the wound on her arm wept violet blood, a reminder that time was against us. We emerged from the tunnels into the storm-ravaged outskirts of the capital, where lightning cracked the sky like veins of fire. Zorath Prime was a world of contrasts. Towering spires of crystal that pierced the clouds, juxtaposed against vast wastelands where ancient ruins whispered of forgotten wars. Lyriel led me to a concealed shuttle pod, half buried in the sand. "My sisters prepared this," she said, her voice breaking, "in case one of us survived." As the pod hummed to life, lifting us into the turbulent atmosphere, I watched the Colosseum shrink below. Enforcer ships swarmed like angry insects, their scanners sweeping the horizon. We were fugitives now, bound by sheer defiance. But what lay ahead? The secret she carried wasn't just Zorathian, it intertwined with humanity's fate. And as we broke through the clouds, toward the orbital stations that dotted the void, I wondered if saving her had doomed us all. None of us were prepared for the truth. The orbital ring around Zorath Prime was a marvel of engineering, a colossal loop of habitats and docks where ships from across the Empire converged. We docked under false credentials Lyriel hacked from the pod's console, her claws flying over the holographic interface with practiced ease. My heart raced as we stepped into the bustling corridors, aliens of every hue brushing past us. Zorathians, insectoid traders from the hive worlds, even a few rogue humans like me, mercenaries eking out a living on the fringe. I disguised myself in a borrowed cloak, its fabric shifting colors to blend with the crowd. Lyriel applied a dermal patch to her wound, her face paling from the pain. "We need allies," she murmured. "There's a contact in the lower levels, a defector named Kaler. He knows the way to the core." The lower levels were a labyrinth of shadows and vice where the Empire's underclass thrived. Neon holograms advertised illicit tech, neural enhancers, black market weapons, even forbidden genetic mods. We navigated through throngs of gamblers and smugglers, the air thick with the acrid smoke of spice vapors. Kaler's den was tucked behind a false wall, guarded by drones that scanned us for threats. He was an elder Zorathian, his scales dulled with age, eyes clouded but sharp. "Lyriel," he rasped, ushering us inside. "You live. The others?" She shook her head, grief etching lines on her face. Kaler sighed, pouring us glowing nectar from a decanter. "The secret spreads like a virus. The elders will hunt you to the ends of the galaxy." Over next hours, as we huddled in his dimly lit chamber, Kaler revealed more. The singularity wasn't just a weapon, it was alive, a sentient entity born from quantum experiments gone awry. It fed on thoughts, twisting realities to sustain itself. The Keepers had communed with it, learning that it planned to expand, consuming minds across the stars. The executions were to silence those who knew before the entity could use them as conduits. I listened, my mind reeling. Back on Earth, we'd heard rumors of Zorathian anomalies, ships vanishing near their borders. Was this the cause? Why me? I asked, "Why save you?" Lyriel met my gaze, her hand brushing mine, a spark of connection in the cold void. "Because you're human. untainted by our logic. Your emotions, they might be the key to stopping it. But our sanctuary was short-lived. Alarms wailed as enforcers breached the outer doors. Kaler activated a hidden escape chute, shoving us toward it. Go! To the forbidden zone, the entity's cradle. Laser fire erupted behind us as we slid into darkness, the chute spitting us into the ring's maintenance voids. Kaler didn't follow. His sacrifice bought us time. Betrayal stung had he been followed, or was the entity already aware? We stole a freighter from the docks, its engines groaning as we punched through the orbital defenses. Plasma cannons lit the void, narrowly missing our hull. Lyriel piloted with fierce determination, her wounds forgotten in the adrenaline. As stars streaked past, I felt a pull, an inexplicable whisper in my mind. The entity? It knew we were coming. What I saw next changed everything. The Forbidden Zone was a graveyard of ships, derelict hulks floating in the shadow of Zorath Prime's moon. Radiation warnings blared on our console, but Lyriel ignored them, guiding us toward a massive structure. The core facility, a spherical behemoth cloaked in energy fields. This is where it began, she said, her voice trembling, the experiment that birthed the singularity. We docked in abandoned bay, the airlock hissing open to reveal corridors lined with frost and forgotten tech. Emergency lights flickered, casting long shadows that seemed to move on their own. As we ventured deeper, Lyriel's genetic memory activated, flashes of her sister's knowledge guiding us. The entity feeds on fear, she warned. It will test us. The first test came in a chamber of mirrors, where illusions sprang to life. I saw my family, lost in the crash that stranded me here, begging for help. Their voices echoed. Elias, why did you leave us? Pain knifed my chest, but Lyriel gripped my arm. It's not real. Fight it. Her presence anchored me, her alien warmth a reminder of our bond. We pushed through, the illusions shattering like glass. Deeper still, we found the archives, holographic records of the experiment. Scientists, driven by war paranoia, had punched a hole into another dimension, pulling through a fragment of pure consciousness. It promised unlimited power, but demanded sacrifice. The elders hid it, using it to fuel their empire, unaware it grew, sentient, plotting to escape its prison. A tremor shook the facility. The entity was awakening. Alarms screamed as bulkheads sealed behind us. We have to reach the control core, Lyriel urged. But enforcers had followed, their leader, a high elder named Varrock, emerging from the shadows. Foolish keeper, he snarled. And you, human pest, the singularity will consume you both. The battle was fierce. Varrock's guards fired, plasma scorching the walls. I dodged, grabbing a fallen rifle, returning fire with human precision. Lyriel wielded her dagger, her movements a dance of lethality. One guard fell, then another. Varrock lunged at her, his claws extended, but I intervened, tackling him to the ground. We grappled, his strength overwhelming, until Lyriel struck the final blow. Panting, wounded, we pressed on. The control core loomed, a vast chamber where the singularity pulsed like a black heart, tendrils of energy reaching out. It spoke directly into our minds. You come to destroy me, but I am eternity. Join me. The temptation was real. Power, knowledge, immortality. But Lyriel's eyes met mine, filled with fear and resolve. Together, she said, her hand in mine, we activated the shutdown sequence, her genetic codes unlocking the failsafes. The entity screamed, a psychic wail that nearly broke us. Visions assaulted me. Worlds burning, stars collapsing. But in that chaos, I felt her emotions merge with mine, alien logic tempered by human heart. The singularity faltered, its tendrils retracting. The facility shook, explosions rippling through the structure. We ran, hand in hand, back to the freighter, detaching just as the core imploded in a flash of light. As we hurtled into space, Zorath Prime safe below, Lyriel turned to me. You saved more than me, Elias. You saved us all. The Empire would change, the truth exposed. But our bond, it was the real revelation, a bridge between worlds. And as the stars embraced us, I knew this was not an end, but a new dawn, one where humans and aliens could face the void together.